Hey guys, we are still on our road trip. We are in Americus, Georgia, and we are at the Rylander Theater, which is supposed to be haunted. One of the stories I've heard here was there was a man who hung himself and they believe his spirit's still here, but it has been visited by a lot of famous people, as you can tell by the sidewalk in front of it. Tell people's names that's helped benefit this place, and they also have the handprints. And this one is Jimmy Carter, the president, and over here we have Rosalind Carter, the president's wife. Now some of these I don't know, but it looks like there's governmental officials. That's a state representative, U.S. Attorney General. So they restored it through the Jimmy Carter Auditorium. So Jimmy Carter, the president, has a lot to do with this town. And it is a very old, unique town. Down there is the Windsor where we stayed last night. You've already seen videos from there. But you can tell this town is pretty old by the way it looks. It's beautiful. So we're going to go into this theater. We're waiting for the woman to get here that's supposed to show us around, and we're going to go in and investigate. And we're bringing you. Alright guys, see you inside. Okay.
We had a good 30 years
wow.
of life.
Nice.
And then the theater closed down for about 40 years.
40?
40.
Wow. So it ran for 30 and then shut down for 40.
Look at the detail of these seats.
So the funny thing about the seats, the company that provided these during the restoration, they never could get the end caps to look like they wanted them to look. So sort of a family-owned business, and the wife of the guy who was in charge of the project said bring one home. She painted it in the garage and it was perfect. Everybody loved it.
Wow.
So they shipped every one of these to their home. She painted them and then they shipped them here to put on.
Oh, wow.
And that was because the company, you know, the manufacturer, they just never got them to look quite right.
That is
and
awesome.
She said, well, let me try my hand at it, you know. So
Yeah.
she hand painted.
That
they
is
came
awesome.
down probably 2 years ago, the father and son. That was the first time that I'd heard that story. The father and son came down. There's another one of our colleagues in Macon who was doing a seat restoration, and they said, oh, we got a great example in Americus, you know, let's all meet down there. So we're happy to do that.
Yeah.
We host a lot of
that she did all that. Do you know about
99. It would have been late
99?
90s.
Okay.
So
Wow.
the theater closed in December of 1950 and then sat empty all the way to the mid 90s. And then around 95, 96, they started the private campaigns, the fundraising to get all of that back up. And then we've been fully restored and reopened 20 years in October.
Wow, that is amazing.
So
It is
our
beautiful.
100th is coming up in a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. They just don't make things the way they used to.
You know,
They don't.
we actually have a sister theater, the Imperial Theater in Augusta. It's the same architect. He designed the Augusta, or the Imperial. They just had their 100th. So
Wow.
they're about 3 years older.
Okay.
That's amazing.
This is
They'll be 101 this summer. So.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
This is beautiful. We appreciate you letting us.
of course.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for waiting. Today's a little, I was out of the office all day yesterday, so I'm playing catch up with some folks.
It wasn't a long wait at all.
Normally our Fridays are, if we don't have a show loading in on Fridays, it's mostly, you know, it's a
Okay.
good tour day.
Yeah.
It's a good day to come in for tours.
Okay.
So I appreciate y'all waiting.
No problem.
Did y'all check out the hotel?
Yeah.
We stayed at the Windsor
Did you?
last night.
Yeah.
All of the painting, all of the decorative border work that you see is all hand painted. It was all,
Wow.
you know, they they cleaned and prepared and did everything to get down to the original design. Hand traced, hand cut stencils, and hand painted all
imagine
of
the
that back.
time that took.
So none of that is a border. All of that's hand painted on and traced over from the original.
That is
Our
really-
mural above the stage here are the 5 muses. And just to give you some perspective, the muse in the middle, there, number 3, that figure is 6 foot tall.
Really?
Wow.
So it's really hard to tell from
Oh,
here.
Yeah, it is.
But that's a
That,
6 foot tall.
You can't tell
figure.
that those figures are 6 foot tall.
that's
So, and
amazing.
again, all of that, now, that mural took a lot of damage because the building wasn't climate controlled for 40 years. So, more of that mural is a recreation than its original,
Okay.
but a lot of stuff is more original, you know, with just a little bit of touch up, a
Yeah.
little bit of cleanup.
Yeah.
But that one took a fair amount of damage just because there was some roof damage in this portion of the theater. So anytime there's precipitation,
Right.
you know,
Yep.
humidity is the enemy of plaster. Well,
That
we're in
is
South
true.
Georgia, so
Yep.
y'all are from
You'll
Florida,
get-
you understand.
I'm from Georgia, so
Okay.
yeah, I am. I'm on the opposite coast, down over by the beach. I'm near Brunswick, Savannah area. I'm just south of there.
Well, the Tybee Post Theater that's on Tybee Island, they are part of the same network that we're part of.
Oh,
We are part of the Fox Theater Institute, if you've ever been to the Fox Theater in Atlanta. And they're on Peachtree. The Fox Theater has an institute for, you know, small theaters all around the state. And so Tybee and the Lucas used to be part of that. The Grand, not the Grand, the Ritz in Brunswick used to
Yeah.
be part of it.
yeah.
So we
Wow.
we do a lot of work with them. But like when we were talking about the restoration, so the flooring that we're standing on right now is not original to this space. It's original to the building. So this used to be upstairs in what was the apartment, the living quarters.
Okay.
And that's our administrative offices now. And so they sourced it, you know, from
Right.
other places in the building. So there was
Huh.
there was a really close attention paid to the details like that.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, "Oh well, we'll have to tear it all out. Let's pull
Yeah.
it from somewhere else." You know, it doesn't matter that we're sitting on carpet upstairs. Nobody's gonna see that. you know.
Right.
We want the patrons on the historic floor.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, but the seating was changed. Obviously, it's much more comfortable now than it would have been. If we seat in all 3 areas, we seat 621. Originally, that would have been closer to 800 because the balcony and gallery were the bench style seats. You know, the seats
Yeah.
were smaller and closer
Yeah.
together. And there's a lot of historic theaters that still have their wooden seating. You know.
Really?
I was just in a theater yesterday in Madison, Georgia.
That's a pretty place. It is.
Love that room. And they still have the original, like 1890 something, early 1900 wooden rows. But the seats they just had repadded and recovered.
Oh, wow.
So the actual seat part, but they're still narrow. I mean,
Yeah.
they're still built
Yeah.
for
So
a
this
smaller
part of
generation.
it is the original then, probably, right? You think, or because they've got like names on each one?
No, so what they did, this was part of a fundraising effort while the theater was being restored. You could buy a seat, you purchased the seats.
Oh.
So, and the story is, no, that was my, our offices are
Was that a
behind there.
ghost?
Our offices are behind there.
Okay.
During the restoration, so I had been told that when the theater first reopened, people were very particular, and they would say, "Excuse me, you're in my seat."
Oh,
And they,
wow.
when they bought their ticket, and I do have a couple of patrons still, 20 years later, who want their seats.
Yeah.
When they buy for the season,
They want
They want
their
their
seats.
yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
we do our very best to accommodate that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh,
So
that
anything
works.
paranormal that you can tell us that you've experienced or that someone
We
has experienced?
we do. We've several people have had experiences here, but it's all benevolent, so it's okay. We're
That's
good with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I like to hear.
We're good with it. It's
Yeah.
not, and it's not a ghost named Mary. Every theater I have been in, I've been in theater my entire life, and ever since I was a kid, every theater has a ghost named Mary. Why? You know, I know
Mary's
it's a
not
popular
here.
name, but still.
Right.
Yeah.
So our spirit, our ghost, or whatever, is Frank.
Okay.
All right.
I don't have any information on Frank. I don't have any records that indicate to me that there was ever a caretaker here named Frank. That's just that's the story I've inherited.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that Frank was a caretaker.
Okay. So did
so-
somebody give this spirit that name, Frank, or you don't really?
I don't even know, but we say good morning, good night. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
We say thank you.
Well,
and we're very careful.
Frank, his name is Frank now.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And we're very we try to be very conscientious of just sort of acknowledging and respecting the space. There's
Right.
100 years
Yes.
Yes.
worth of energy here in this place, and you can, and it's just like with anything, you can take a brand new building, and when you pack 400 or 500 people in here having a great time and there's a live performance going on, it still sort of buzzes a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when the show is over. So
You're right.
a lot of times after we'll have a big show and we've gotten the band loaded out or the performers, you know, whatever loaded out, we just sort of sit on the stage and just decompress a little bit and try to sort of be in the space. And, you know, that's when we'll sometimes see stuff or hear stuff. And again, it's just, you've had 500 people here
Right.
having a great time. There's just
Yep.
that residual.
That residual energy.
you
Yep.
know, and that's what you want. You want it to be a good,
Yes.
positive.
Yeah, you do.
But as far as specifically, we had a young lady who was helping out with the show. She was running Spotlight, which is up there in the gallery. You've got two
Okay.
spotlights up there. To get up there, you see these 3 exit signs in this balcony, this first mezzanine here. There are staircases that you go up that lead up to the 3rd.
Okay.
So she came down from her spot at the spotlight into this hallway here behind the balcony, used the ladies' room, and was headed back up the stairs to get back in place. And she lost her footing and started to fall backwards. And she felt a hand on the small of her back, push her back
Oh,
forward.
wow. So Frank's a very caring
Yes,
man.
Wow.
scared her so bad that she never came back.
Bless her heart.
But I said,
Could have
you know,
saved
at
her
least,
life.
wouldn't you rather have him helping you up
Yes.
than, you know?
It's better him
so
helping
that,
than
that
pushing.
sort of thing.
The
Yeah.
man that called you to get us in here told me that story.
Did he?
And that's one of the
Steve?
stories I wanted you to hear.
Yeah, gotcha. I didn't go in with those. I
So
didn't
Steve
hear
has
it.
been on. Steve brings tour groups through here a lot, so he's heard all of our stories. He can get the tour himself.
He
at this
could,
point.
because he was very informative on yeah. Here. Makes me wish I was staying here longer.
I know.
That's just more reason to
coming
come
back.
back.
There you go.
So, you know, so we have something like that, and we will hear and see just things out of the corner of our eye, you know, or whatever. And because it's such a big building and we're surrounded by businesses on either side, you know, a lot of things can be explained away of, oh, that's the, you know, the sound of something on the roof, or that's
Right.
the sound of this
Yeah.
or that, the other. You know, but every now and then there's just something where we go, all right, I'm going for the night, you know.
Yeah, don't know what that
Well, you're
is.
just- and the other thing too, you know, being a woman who is often in the space, you know, I think your senses are a little bit heightened, sort
Yeah.
of that protective, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, your mind is very quick to go, is that something I need to be concerned about, or is that something that
yeah,
I can explain away,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
That's true.
But we've also had, so before my time, I've been here for 10 years. Before my time, we had college interns who were in here. They were working on the stage, and they decided to do a little investigating of their own. And they put a recorder to just put out on one of the arms. And I never heard the tape. I never heard the tape, but they said that you could hear everybody on the stage, everybody's voice was sort of accounted for, and then very closely to the mic, they heard, what time does the show start?
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So there was that. Another one of our interns, he and our technical director at the time were here working late at night. They were doing a light, a hang and focus on our lights.
Mm-hmm.
The doors that we came in to get into this portion of the theater make a very specific thud when they open and close.
Oh, okay.
So they heard the doors, they turned around, there's nobody there. He bravely goes and checks, the doors are locked, because they lock from, once the show is over, we lock from the outside all the way in.
Right.
Gotcha.
We sort of have our system. So doors were locked, he comes back, our technical director is sitting with her back to the theater. He's facing out and he sees somebody come in and go to the corner there and sit down. And she goes, I don't want to turn around, do I? And he said, nope, not right now.
Oh, wow.
And they just sort of, it was one of those, just sort of waited and looked back and they were gone.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's
So,
interesting.
I
Yep.
love hearing
It
this.
wasn't a very, I don't know that it was very solid. I'd have to go back and ask him, but it was enough to kind of go, there's somebody in the space.
Yep.
It's probably somebody that was just really attached to
Yeah.
this
It
place.
could have been somebody
they
that-
develop attachments to places and they come back and develop attachments to places and they come back and revisit
Yep.
them. I firmly
Absolutely.
believe
I do
Well,
too.
we had a conference here, and we were seated all the way to the gallery. This was a high school and college theater conference, so we had kids stacked to the rafters. Everybody was out. One of my interns was standing here, and we're in the middle of conversation, and all of a sudden he looks up and takes off running. And, we're hollering at him, and I said, Mark, what is it? And he said, oh, there's somebody in the gallery. I'm just going to go run him off. It's college and high school theater kids. They're going to wander around. He gets up there, and there's nobody there.
Oh my.
Wow.
And all the ways that they could have gotten out were still
Gotcha.
locked. So
Yeah.
Got it, yeah.
Wow.
But it was enough for him to go, oh, there's somebody, somebody's still in the
Yeah,
building wandering
so-
around, and we thought we'd cleared the house.
Right.
So he definitely saw
So
something.
he saw enough to make him take off running to tell him, they needed to leave, that we were closed.
Yeah.
So things like that. And like I said, it's, we acknowledge it. We have, we've had good experiences.
Yeah.
It's
Like
good
I
that
said-
you've had no bad.
Yeah,
That's-
I
definitely.
mean, some of it's just kind of,
Yeah.
Not that they even mean to
No.
scare you or freak you out, but it happens.
No.
I mean,
Right.
I believe that sometimes they just can't help it. They don't mean to.
And we've always felt that it, like I said, I inherited Frank. That was the story that I inherited, whether it's reliable or legitimate or not. But one time, several years ago, I was here by myself. And at the time, I only had female employees. I didn't have any male employees at that moment. And in my office, my back was to the door. I was on the computer. Everybody had gone home for the day. I was working late. And I hear, like when you go to approach somebody and they don't see you coming, so you're like, hey, didn't want to
Yeah.
scare you,
Yeah.
I heard my name. I heard Heather. And it was a female voice sort of whispered. And it was such that I said, yeah, and turned around fully expecting to see one of my employees, thinking they'd forgotten something or came back. And there was nobody
Nothing
there.
there. Wow.
So I left for my meeting early.
Yeah.
I was like, I know Frank, I don't know you.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So, but I mean, you can see just as we're standing here, you see how the light plays on the ceiling
Yeah.
coming
I see
in.
that.
So
Yeah.
light plays around the room in interesting ways. When
I've
I'm
been
in,
kind of noticing some lights.
yeah,
I don't know
and
what
so when
that
the
is.
I
cars
think it's
go by,
cars, yeah, that's,
because we have that curtain is dropped a little bit there in the center. So a lot of things like that,
Yeah.
people will come in and they're like, ooh. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, that can be explained, yeah.
And
Yeah.
sound does weird things because my office being upstairs is over the sidewalk, is over the street. people can stand there and have a conversation in a normal voice below my window, and it sounds like they're in the room with me.
Oh.
Wow.
So sound bounce, and
Yeah.
with the acoustics being what they are in here, if somebody's in here giving a tour, we can hear it
Yeah.
in our offices,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So there's a lot of that too, that it just sort of sound bounces, light does interesting things,
Cool,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, what kind of things do you guys offer for the community? Like, is there plays that go on?
Right, so we are live performance.
Okay.
We have a presenter series, which is professional, national, and international touring artists. From anything from a concert to a comedian, to dance, just all sorts of live
Okay.
performing arts. We have a community theater.
Okay.
They do 3 or 4 shows a season. Usually at least one of them's a musical. That's all local, all volunteer, open to the public.
Wow.
And then we're a rental house. So we host all the dance recitals. We host civic meetings. We've done public information sessions, fashion shows.
So y'all do a lot. Yeah,
kinds of
that
stuff.
is.
So how would people get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of to schedule?
Just to
it?
find out what's going
Yeah,
on.
to find out what's going on or to schedule
Rylander.org.
Rylander.org.
Rylander.org is our website, and then also
I will put the link in
Facebook.
the description as well.
Yeah, just Rylander Theater, and it's Rylander.
Okay.
Rylander.org, and just find us on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we'll always push out events and things like
Okay.
that.
All right.
So if you're in the Americus, Georgia area, you've got to come check this beautiful theater
Yeah,
out. This is
definitely.
amazing.
Yeah.
And
It
we're
is
open for
beautiful.
tours Tuesday through Friday, 11 to
Okay.
4. And if you are bringing a bigger group and want a guided tour, it is better, to call
Okay.
ahead and schedule that.
Okay.
But Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 4 are our posted business hours, so the theater will be
Okay.
open for somebody, to
Okay.
walk you around.
Okay.
Or you to just walk through.
You guys
This
heard
is
it
in
here.
Americus, Georgia, guys, and let them know that we sent you. So they can know.
Definitely. It is beautiful. If you get a chance to get by here, you need to come and check it out.
Yes, I'm just so thankful that you let us in here.
I'm
I
happy to do
know,
that.
it's
This
gorgeous.
is my first time in an old theater. And
That's amazing.
I'm just blown away at what I'm seeing here. I feel like this is like something off my bucket list.
I
you
know. I
I'm gonna go to
know.
an old theater one day.
We accomplished that one together,
Yes,
Patty.
It's so beautiful. It's breathtaking in here. It really is. And it's got a nice feel to it.
Yeah, it does.
It's got a
I
comfy
hope
feel.
so. I mean, it's important to us that anybody that comes through the doors feels welcome and feels included.
I had a very welcoming feeling
Good.
coming in here.
Good.
Not the hair didn't stand on the back of my neck.
No.
Not at all. It was all
and
good.
I mean, that is true. You don't always get that when you walk
don't.
in new
Right.
or old places.
Yes,
Yep.
you don't.
And so that's something that our team works very hard to do. The
Yeah.
building itself is warm and welcoming.
Right.
Yes,
and,
it is.
you know,
It is.
We try to make everybody feel comfortable here.
Yeah,
Now, he
you're.
was telling me a story about a man that hung himself somewhere on was it this building or was it a building down?
Now that one I don't know.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I
He
haven't-
said it was in the 1930s. I wasn't filming him when he was telling the story. I should probably, when I come back up here, I'll get with him. and have him
Yeah,
tell
I
me some
don't-
stories on camera.
I feel like somebody else has asked about that, and probably having talked to Steve first, and then
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't know. I don't know anything about
Okay,
that.
I didn't think it was the theater. But I thought it was a
No.
building near the theater here.
Possibly.
Okay.
Very possibly.
He said that a lot of people claim that they see and hear him still and things like that. So
I'll have to ask Steve
yeah,
that
you'll
story. I
have
don't know
to
that I
ask
know
him
that
about
one.
that.
Yeah, your employee that's working there now was very nice to us when we came in.
Yeah,
So,
very
Good.
yeah.
Yep, very nice.
Good.
Felt very welcomed, and we
Yeah.
appreciate you taking us in here and letting us see this. This is
Of course.
All right, guys, that was our tour into this neat and fascinating little theater. I really enjoyed it. I know we didn't do like a full-on investigation, but it was neat seeing it and hearing the stories and seeing what they had preserved there. And I got traffic going by, so I know it's loud, but I hope y'all enjoyed the video too. It was just one of the stops on our road trip. Anyway, thank you for being here. If you liked the video, please hit like, subscribe, and do all that YouTube stuff. All right, guys. I can't say do all that YouTube stuff without smiling now because so many of y'all have said jokes about it. It's funny. Anyway, do all that YouTube stuff. Much love. See you at the next stop. Bye.